Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, is the Thunder Show, aka the Internet's most passionate wine program, and the passion continues to expand your palate. It's 2009, big year, looking for values, looking to expand palates, and look at this, Ian did not give me the price of the turkey flat Mourvedre. Mont, sit in for a second so I can get that price. Keep them busy, tell them something. We're fumbling.
Fumble. Starting off, I want to say Happy New Year, everyone. I hope it's a good year for everybody. I hope everybody had a nice long weekend, and here he comes.
Yes, something you see from the corner of my eye. Let me just put that $30 if you're wondering. So, actually, 2 of the 3 wines today are fairly expensive, but what I wanted to do was kind of talk about a grape varietal that does not get a lot of press. The Mourvedre grape. Mourvedre is really one of the really interesting grape varietals in the world. Very tannic, very bold, does extremely well in France, does some nice job in other parts of the world, specifically Australia. A lot of parts of the world it's known as Mataro. So if you've ever seen Mataro, M-A-T-A-R-O, that is also Mourvedre, and you might have seen Mourvedre in parts of Spain, and that's known as Montestral. So those are all the same grape varietal, different names throughout the world. A little confusing, but a little fun fact that you learn on the Vayniac Show here to the Thunder Show. The Vayniac Show, huh? There's your little fun fact, kids, for today. Montestral, Mourvedre, and Mataro, all the same grape. We've got one from California, one from Australia, and one from Bandol. Bandol, found all the way in the south east corner of France. It's like where Florida is in the here's France. Down here, about 2,700 acres are planted in the Bandol region, close to 3,000. Very interesting wines in Bandol, very Mourvedre based, and the one that we have is from one of the most famous Bandol producers, a single vineyard, $60. 60 bones for some Mourvedre, quite expensive for the Tempier wine, and that's a 70 to 80% Mourvedre based wine. But let's get right into the first wine, Klein 2006, Contra Costa County. Ancient Vines Mourvedre, 15% alcohol, $13 US. Klein is one of the holders of Mourvedre in the US that really has the most dominant acreage of Mourvedre planted, and so it is one of the few producers really even producing Mourvedre anymore in California. Old vine, historical vines. So Klein's got a real kind of like chokehold, like a little sleeper hold on the Mourvedre market in the U.S. Well, I'm excited about trying this. I haven't had their Mourvedre in a long time, and let's see what's going on. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Now, what I love about this grape varietal is it tends to be tannic, rustic. I always find a hint of cinnamon in there, and I do on this wine. I kind of forgot about that, and sure enough, right off the bat, a little bit of that cinnamon action coming across. It's a varietal that I think has a lot more flexibility with foods than a lot of people realize, and so it's kind of a grape that I think deserves a little bit more attention, have a little bit of a gut feel that a lot of you have not had this varietal in the past, and I'm excited about exposing that to you. Let's give it one more sniffy sniff right down the nose. I get a rustic nail kind of thing going on. I get some beautiful plum action on the nose. Little hints of pepper and a tad of clove, which made me know on the famous episode 148. Link up episode 148 for all the new Vayniacs who've never seen that. So I get a little bit of that.
They should, even if you've seen it, you should go back, because I went back and redid it, so it's big now.
Oh yeah? You redid 148. All right, so if you haven't checked out 148 in a while, zoom down below, check that out. Very interesting nose, definitely a little bit of that clove. Let's give it a whirl. Big strawberry pie exploding directly in the middle of your mouth. There's a little bit of oakiness coming through on this wine, which is fine. Very, very diner-esque. And I'll tell you why. It's got a lot of sappy pancake syrup flavors on the palate, which always make me think of a diner, a little IHOP, a little diner action. I get strawberry syrup for pancakes on the mid-palate, which is interesting. There's a little bit of gaminess, a little grilled meat action on the back end. I'm a big fan of Pittsburgh-style steaks. even though I hate Pittsburgh sports. Boo Pirates. Just kidding. Steelers. So I get a really charred component. Matt, speaking of football, you probably weren't super pumped to see the Eagles win.
Well, if I had my choice, I would have preferred.
All right, you got to beat everybody to win it all, but, they're probably the team that knows you well.
Yeah.
It's always a battle.
It's going to be a good game.
So charred steak component, a little bit of like raspberry, strawberry jam there in the beginning, a lot of it, then charred, then a little bit more. So really interesting wine, very fruit driven. Let me give it one more shot. Definitely a play for all you people who love Shiraz out there. That's why I wore the purple today, to mourn the Vikings' loss. If you're a Shiraz fan, I can see you getting into this wine. It's a little too fruity, candy land. That's why I tripled it up for me. But I still think this is an 86-point wine. Good fruit, not bad. 13 bones, doesn't kill me. I definitely think this is something that some people would like. If you're a Zin or Shiraz fan and you love fruit, you could definitely get into this. And at 13 bones, not horrible. A little coated too much with the oak and loses a little its scent. That's a little bit of an issue. 3 to 5 years cellaring, in my opinion, on this wine. Would go well with a variety of picnic, easy American cuisine, hot dogs, burgers, sausages. Not bad. Not bad at all. But not great either. Let's move on. All right, let's see what this bad boy has. Turkey Flat. This is the reason we did the show. I saw this. I wanted to taste it. So you can blame every pro and con on this little wine right here. Turkey Flat, 2006 Mourvedre. 91 to 94 points, J. Miller. $30 US. Aged in French oak for 18 months. That concerns me. We'll see if that was too overpowering or not. Turkey Flat is a very solid, capable producer of Australian wine. Let's see what's going on here. From Barossa, one of the great areas in the world to produce wine. Though collectively, I think the entire scene in Barossa has gone over the top. I hate that is what has defined Australia. And I make a statement right now, a commitment in 2009, even myself, to shed a hair of the prejudice that all Australian wines are bombs. I always reference that, Matt. And I'm doing a bad job, so I apologize to Australia on a global level, and not the movie. I mean the country. There's a lot of wines that are over-oaked, but one of the reasons we showed the Riesling the other day, I think Australia has a chance to really do a lot more. I think we need to look at some of the Semillon that comes out of Australia in the white wine end, and there is a lot of Cabernet in a lot of regions like the Clare Valley, like McLaren Vale, more like Margaret River, McLaren Vale gets a little bit, but there's areas, and even people within areas, Eden Valley, even people within Barossa, McLaren, and things of that nature, are making more balanced wines. And I think, Australia globally has gotten a bad rap on the low end because of yellowtail, and on the high end because they've been over-oaked, and fruit bombs as the tasting trends in the U.S. have shifted down, and worldwide. I think Australia is going to be a fascinating place to kind of poke around in. I hope that the Vayner Nation out there, you guys do explore more parts of Australia. This is Barossa. We'll start looking at other places going forward. Gorgeous color, undeniably. Just beautiful, dark, raspberry, black. Almost looks like pomegranate. Pomegranate gets on your clothes, you're dead. I feel like this gets on my clothes, I'm dead. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Lots of candy coming through. I get a whole boatload of Twizzlers stuck directly up my nose, kind of like if they, kind of like if there was, that kind of Twizzler action coming through on my nose. I get lots of candies, Bazooka Joe gum coming through, powdered sugar, cake toppings. This is a dessert on the nose, which is fine, but definitely falls into the, stereotype of being too balmy and too candy-esque. Did you get all the candies? Did you like the candies? It's like a piñata was hit and everything went directly in my nose, broke into my nose. So a lot of candy coming through. Skittles. Let's give it a whirl. Maybe you could see by the extra half a pause, trying to make a commitment to keep it in my mouth a little bit longer. High tannin structure on the back end, which I like. coated with a shredded chocolate component. A very dense plum juice flavor attacks your palate immediately, coats it completely, and it is very New World in that. However, the tannins are very sharp and kind of break down the fruit a little bit, which I find fascinating and worthwhile to mention. Definitely a wine that's a little bit more fruit-driven than I would like to see. I'd like to see a little bit more of an element of surprise, something, a little magic action. A little Houdini in my wines never hurt me. That being said, it does have very gorgeous, bright fruit, well made. A hair over the top for me. Again, I'm sensitive to it. Know your own palate, know yourself. A little over oaked for me. It feels like melted down grape Jolly Ranchers on the back end. That being said, not grossly over the top. You know, maybe like a push-up bra and low cut, but not naked. You know what I mean? So, not grossly over the top. Oh my, you wanted the naked? Excuse me for one sec. This is a very complicated wine for me. I'm like so on the... This could go either way. Let's start with this. I believe that the way this wine was made, had it been the Syrah Shiraz grape varietal, would have been too over the top for me. But because it is the Mourvedre grape, and because it comes with a natural higher tannin structure, I like this wine more. So that's really kind of neat for me, right? Because this is really where the grape did its merit. And it should, right? That's what wine's made out of. I feel like the way Turkey Flat handled this varietal maybe was a little too over the top. I think a little bit more balance would have done well. Mourvedre does extremely well in hot and dry areas. This is a place where you get that, at least in the classic Barossa summer. I like this wine. It's got a citrus bite at the end. I almost feel like you ever throw like a sangria? You ever eat the fruit after the sangria is done? Like it's all red, you know, like you're orange. You know what I mean? That's the kind of flavor I get on this. A little citrus play with the plums and the blackberries and the red fruit. I'm gonna score this wine 90 points, right there. And so for at $30, I'd probably tell you that this wine is a Paz with 7 Z's. You can spend your money in better places. That being said, it's an interesting wine. I'd like to see it evolve, as it will, over the next 5 to 15 years. It's got a lot of back structure. And it is definitely a wine that I think you can drink by itself. Actually, the thing that I yearn for tasting this is cheese. I feel like this is a very good cheese wine. And that's kind of where it goes. Interesting wine. Very interesting. I ranged in my head from 92 to 85 through that experience, which was a lot of math. Let's move on. Let's give it a little rinse. Let's talk about Bandol. Bandol is probably one of the favorite places I've ever been in the wine world. I think it is a gorgeous area in France. I think they produce some really sexy wines. I do feel that Tempier, which is the real bellwether, has gotten too expensive. This is their 06 Bandol. And this comes from a single vineyard that you can see right here, the La Tourine. The Tortine is a single vineyard, very small production. This is about 70 to 80% Mourvedre, 60 bones. Very pricey. I mean, I do remember just 7-8 vintages ago this wine rolling in the high 20s. So it's a little bit uncomfortable for me, you know, to really taste this wine at this price point. But it still is a go-to producer within Bandol. It's probably the one that you'll most likely find if you go out to a fine restaurant and you want to try Bandol. If you go out tonight, a Monday night, little party action for you and the kids. If you look for a Bandol, Tempe might and most likely will be, especially in the metropolitan cities, Chicago, New York, San Francisco, LA, Dallas. You know, if you find a Bandol on the list, this is probably going to be the producer you find, a very good producer. Let me give it a sniffy sniff. Now, right away, Mott, smell this. Right away, you can get a totally different experience. I get absolutely, like, burnt rubber coming through, like an absolute junkyard component. Like, somebody took my big wheels and put it on fire. You know, really, like, a big tire component coming through. Very rustic, isn't it? Like a totally different experience on the nose than the last two where they were fruit driven. This is more like earth driven. You know, you get a little barnyard action, little ugly sheep running around that are a little poopy smelling. You know, it's kind of like a classic old world farm. You know what I mean? You got the animal smell a little bit. You're probably burning your, wood in the background and your garbage. I mean, that's what they do when you're driving around these European countries. They're just burning their garbage or wood. I mean, you see very much smells like where it comes from. And I think that's a pretty darn good thing. I do get a little black currant on the back end for the fruit component. Let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a snippy sniff. We did that. We gave it a whirl. Let's give it a try. A whirl. Let's try it. They're overpriced, but they're damn good. Wow, this is well made. I get a really lively cherry component on this wine. Wow, what if I did that every time? That'd probably get me a skit on SNL. This is a very good wine. Very complex, classic Mourvedre flavors. Rustic, tannic, good black fruit, a spiciness, a little pepper. Get that little cinnamon kick on the back end, which makes me just happy. It's a well-played effort. Just a good game plan and executed. Great bitter tannins. This wine will last for 15 plus years, in my opinion. Easy. Wow. Give it one more shot. Here's the funny thing, guys. I am actually not a Tempier fanboy. The far majority of wine people that are in the industry, that I've drank with, that are into wine, are much bigger Tempier fans than I am. To me, they've always been slightly overpriced and just kind of solid. This, however, in my opinion, is one of the better efforts that I've tried. 06. I don't even really know off the top of my head if that's a very strong vintage in the Bandol. I'm going to look it up after the show. This has an extra layer that I don't normally come across with Tempier. The thing that a lot of other people have been telling me, maybe I've been missing it, and or maybe it's just getting better. I get this extra layer of jamminess, complexity, good fruit. This wine's taking me on a journey. It's a storyteller, kind of like Biggie Smalls. Cannot wait for January 16, the Notorious. Ma, you gonna come with me to Brooklyn? Brooklyn, we did it! Can't wait to see that movie. Anyway, this is like storytelling. This really takes me on a journey. This has far more complexity. I like the black pepper is so distinct. And the gaminess. I mean, I really feel like I just ripped the flesh off a deer and just started biting it. I mean, I'm tasting it. I'm feeling it. I'm liking this wine. I'm going to go 93 points in this effort. I think this is spectacular. And again, understand, recognize, not a big Tempier fan. Usually have scored them, even the single vineyards, even the ones that Parker and other people have scored in the 90s and mid-90s. I've always been like an 89, 88 kind of guy in this. Very caught off guard by this effort. Extremely good. Maybe it was my new technique. I don't know. But I really, really like this. I think this pairs well with a variety of heavy foods and a great supplement for a Chateauneuf de Pape or a Hermitage or something of that nature. Just an extremely well-made wine. I like it. I like it a lot. I still think 60 bones is a lot of money paid for it, though. I still feel like we can flirt and find a $30 alternative that tastes like it. Maybe like that Languedoc wine we had from the other day. That's a scoop. That's Mourvedre. A very interesting grape that has really made its name in the Rhone Valley. Does extremely well pairing up with Grenache. So it's like a peanut butter jelly situation with Grenache. That's a little fun fact. You get high tannins if you're looking to put away wines. These are kind of wines you should look for. And if you've not experienced Mourvedre, then you absolutely need to, because you need to expand your palate to understand what you like in the first place. Question of the day. What is your experience with Mourvedre? You, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world.